We're slowing our seminar way down, giving lots more detail, hopefully, and lots more information. In this session and probably the next couple, we're going to talk about the age of the Earth. What I normally cover on my video number 1B, what we call 1B, the second seminar. How old is the Earth anyway? The Bible says, in the beginning. Now, when was the beginning? Let's stop right there. How old is the Earth? It is an extremely important question. Christians are very much divided over this issue. How old is the Earth? 100 years ago, the division wasn't so bad, or maybe 200 years ago. Everybody believed exactly what the Bible says, about 6,000 years for the age of the Earth. But then when they began teaching the Earth is billions of years old, Christians began to divide into two camps, those who stuck with what the Bible said, and those who accepted what some of the scientists were saying, and tried to make the Bible say the Earth is billions of years old. And we'll get into more of that later with the compromise positions of the gap theory and the day-age theory. But next one, Jonathan, you got a call there, or should I go to the next one here?
We got a caller.
Oh, okay, who's on the phone there?
It's Jared.
Jared, our wonderful.
Good buddy.
I tell you what, it's dangerous to keep listening because you're going to have to eventually get converted. You realize that?
Oh, man, that's too bad. I guess I'll just have to risk it.
It's not a risk. It's really a wonderful thing. I would encourage it.
Oh, okay.
Especially after you're dead. Then you're really going to be glad you did it.
Well, according to you, I've already saved it, and I'm saved forever, so I guess I have nothing to worry about.
Maybe so. Go ahead, Jared. What's your question?
Well, okay, let's just tear apart the argument that you just put forth. You have a room that has copper wiring and computers and fiber optics in it, right?
Okay.
And you claim that makes the age of the room young?
Well, the analogy, of course, could be broken down, but if you say all of this is built in and there's no way it could be added later, we'll take first law of thermodynamics here. Nothing.
You didn't mention that part.
Okay, well, that I guess would be assumed in the analogy that if you said this room, or let's take a computer, okay? What year was your computer built?
I built my own computer through an evolutionary process over many years.
Over billions of years, the pieces just evolved, they floated in. And
well, you had to put in most of it before you could even turn it on, so.
Well, the initial computer was built in like 1991 or something, and I've been slowly replacing part by part ever since then. It never was fully rebuilt.
So it's kind of a theistic evolution type thing.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
If I handed you my computer, what do I have, Jonathan? A Dell.
You got a Dell Expensive.
Well, I use it. I mean, you should see how I use it.
Dell. It's like $4,500.
No, it was $31. It is an XPS. Dell.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it means.
It's the herniated version. I know that. The thing weighs about 40 pounds, and it's a laptop.
It has a Pentium 4. Now, if I handed my computer to somebody and said, hey, I've had this computer for 20 years.
Right.
Would you agree it would be fairly easy for them to prove that statement is wrong?
Well, it would depend on what you meant with a statement. I could say that I've had my computer for like, I don't know, 13 years.
And replaced parts. If I say, I've had this Dell XPS, and it was Pentium 4, and I haven't replaced anything, and I've had it for 20 years, it would be fairly easy for somebody to say, excuse me, that is not possible.
In that case, yes.
Okay. Pentium 4 was not available until when? About 4 or 5 years ago?
Early 21st century, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So 5 years ago, the chip came out. Now, the XPS wasn't even built until probably about 3 years ago. So someone could say, Hovind, you're claiming it's 20 years old. I can prove it's less than 3. I'd say, oh, yeah, okay, you're right. So by simple process of elimination is the purpose of the illustration. You could point out it cannot be 20 years old. It has to be less than 3.
Yeah, but again, it really depends on what you mean by that, because the materials that were used to make the computer are certainly older than a few years.
Well, some of the principles and concepts may be, several hundred years old, like the transistor and et cetera.
Yeah,
switching. Sure.
And the particles that were used that to put the computer together are the same age as the Earth itself.
Right, 6,000 years.
Whatever that ends up being, sure. But the point is, the analogy from young Earth creationist arguments about the Earth being 6,000 years old breaks down at precisely the place where this analogy breaks down, which is that things change. Parts of it change and parts of it don't.
Well, let's just check this out. The galaxies are winding up. The evolutionists have admitted this is a serious problem. The stars are moving at different speeds. The stars in the center are moving faster. We still have spiral arms on the galaxies. They cannot be more than a few 100 million years old.
Oh, hold on. There could be a problem with Einsteinian physics or something that we're not aware of yet. yet.
Well, now you're going to call in magic to cure your problem.
No, it's not magic. It's just saying we might have a problem with our physical theories when you go out to really large scales. Just
So
how
you
when
want
you go to really small scales, Newtonian mechanics breaks down, and quantum mechanics came back and fixed it.
So your answer to the dilemma is we have to change the laws of physics.
No, we're not changing the laws of physics. We're discovering that our models of the laws of physics aren't necessarily correct when you go to different scales.
Or
This is why people say Newton is wrong. Well, Newton's not really wrong.
So
it's a good approximation in the intermediate scales.
Okay, so when other evolutionists say, hey, this is the problem, folks, the galaxies are spinning at differential speeds, they should not have the spiral arms anymore, you don't see it as a problem because the laws of physics may have been different in the past or may be different on larger scales.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that that's a problem with astrophysics that is independent of evolution. And it may or may not be a problem for the theory. I don't know enough details about it. Even if it is a problem, it's a problem for, physics.
No, it's also a problem for evolution because if you limit the age of the galaxy to less than a few 100 million years, you just eliminated your whole evolution theory.
Yeah, that would be true.
Okay. Time is essential. That is the first hurdle you have to overcome.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So when these creationists, like myself, go through 40 or 50 evidences that the universe cannot be billions of years old, you have to do exactly what you would jump all over a creationist for doing. You have to call in either changing the laws of physics or appealing to something that is not natural. We call in God and say, well, God must have created the first couple. And here you are appealing to there's different laws of physics that must govern things at a large scale. I mean, if I were making your argument, you would be all over it, Jared, and you know it.
I disagree. But let's just talk about the problem with this argument. If you had a piece of evidence that proves, or I don't know, shows, that the Earth cannot be older than 6,000 years old, and you also have a piece of evidence that shows that the Earth cannot be younger than 3 billion years old.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
Well, you have truth cannot contradict truth.
Right.
So I think we need to start with that assumption.
So one of them's wrong.
One of them's wrong.
Yeah.
Now, which one? That would depend upon your prejudice, I suppose. Which one you're going to, just like the prosecution tries real hard to look at the case from one side, and the defense tries real hard to look at it from the other side. Okay.
And let me tell you why I think that the evidence for an old Earth is more compelling.
Okay.
It's because this is really a problem with calculus, and it seems like you have a misconception about calculus. How much calculus do you know, Kent?